Islam is spreading quite rapidly across the Western world. In Christian countries, is it any wonder that Islam is coming in quite freely, I might add, because you have government officials that are rather corrupt and don't care about Islam taking over. In fact, the government officials want the Muslim vote, but the problem is Muslims don't want to vote for Labor or Liberal. They want to vote for Fatima Payman's Muslim Party, the Australia's Voice. And by the way, you got to be very, very careful because some people seem to think that that is a good party to vote for because it sounds great, right? Australia's Voice. Who wouldn't want to vote for Australia's Voice party into Parliament? I can't believe for the life of me that we actually have a political party full of Muslims in Australia. That to me was unheard of a number of years ago. But because Fatima Payman has decided to separate herself from her original party and then form her own party, we've now got a bunch of other Muslims in different areas in and across Australia. And that is a major, major problem because you know what that means? The Aussie government is now set to introduce blasphemy laws to stop any criticism of Islam. You know what that is? Literally, ideological T word. It's not good, in other words. For some reason, Islam is now going to be more protected than Christianity in a supposed Christian country. How in the world does that work? And you have these Muslim imams or preachers in mosques all across Australia that are threatening if any Christian or any person in Australia were to say anything negative about their Prophet Muhammad. Oh, if anyone were to say, if a Muslim were to say something negative about Jesus, what happens to them? Absolutely nothing. But if a Christian or someone else says something negative, the truth, I might add, about Muhammad or about Islam as a religion, you can be met with fines or prison time. Wow. And that's all because our wonderful, fearless leaders come in and they go, oh, we need inclusivity in Australia. You know, the problem with having too much inclusivity is you end up excluding all the right people, only including the ones that you want. You end up becoming a very exclusionary sort of party or people. You're too focused on one thing and one thing only, including everyone that agrees with you and excluding anyone that disagrees with you. That would include me and so many other Australians, man. Loads of Australians are waking up and realizing that Islam is not compatible with the West. Why is it? I saw this video. Why is it that schools are now making kids attend mosques and prayers? And they're dictating how young kids are being taught in schools. It's actually ridiculous. What's going on? This is Australia, I might add. This is also going on in the UK, I believe. In Western countries, what is going on? Have a watch of this.
Get their first taste of Islamic prayers, it's come to Ahmed's attention that Isaac isn't dressed properly for the occasion.
Pull your socks up a bit more. In prayer, he had his socks under his knees and he was wearing shorts, so his knees were showing. And in Islam, you need to have from your belly button to your knees covered to be praying, and his knees were showing. So I asked him if he can pull his socks up to cover it up.
Quietly, will you stand up?
Sometimes in trying to educate others in our values, we may come across as rude or abrupt. And that is a concern I have with some of our students. And that is something which they have to learn how not to do.
I have never prayed before. I've never even thought about it, but I've meditated before. And it was really nice just sort of being in the room with them and having that unity of everyone doing something together at the same time.
Ali Kadri, CEO of Islamic College of Brisbane. Now, you have lots of white Australians, not immigrants at all, not people that you consider of Arabic descent, lots of white kids in attendance doing Islamic prayer? Why are these kids being forced to do Islamic prayer? They're being taught about a false religion. They're being taught about a death cult, Islam. And they're being taught, okay, you must do this during prayer. You must have everything covered from your belly button all the way down to your feet. Must be fully covered as a sign of respect to their Allah. Doesn't that sound like a cult to you? Because in Christianity, Jesus talks about how you can pray to him, pray to God anywhere, at any time. You don't need to be covered up completely. Man, I can pray in the shower if I wanted to. Do you think Jesus really cares? Do you think God cares? He's the one that made you, for goodness sake. He made Adam nude. You know, sin dictated that we should be clothed. Our nakedness was revealed after Adam and Eve sinned. But Islam teaches you must be completely covered up. It matters a great deal to Allah. Imagine if Allah were to see you a little bit of your knee. God forbid that happens. That is so disrespectful to Allah. Can't have Allah seeing a shred of skin when you're praying to him. You know who you're really praying to? You're praying to the devil. Because in your beloved book, the Quran, it says Allah is the master deceiver, teaches you how to lie. And in the Bible, Jesus speaks against lying. God speaks against lying. Stark difference, isn't there? But why is it that Islamic culture, meaning Arabs that have adopted Islam as their religion as well as their culture, because we know that Islam is not actually it's not a race at all. It's more a religion, and it's also an ideology. It's a dangerous one at that. And it's spreading rapidly around the world. And then you have people that are forcing their way of life, Islam, forcing young people to do things, especially in school. And I've said it many times, if you want to change a society, you educate the kids. Al-Faris Emrati, or whatever the hell his name is, Islam has nothing to do with terror, you know what. Islam came into existence only to eliminate terror, you know what. Aisha Muhammad, who is basically a parody account and is against Islam. Cornhub has nothing to do with corn. Cornhub came into existence only to eliminate corn. That is the kind of logic that Al-Faris was spouting. Yeah, sure, Islam has nothing to do with the ones that decide to blow themselves up. Islam came into existence only to eliminate the ones that are actually born out of the religion itself. All right. Came to eliminate the ones that decide to blow themselves up and decide to shout a particular phrase, God be praised. They, you know, Allah, yeah. Islam came into existence to abolish that. So pretty much the last thing that I will hear one say is that phrase. Done. Usually, that's what happens. And if Australia has any kind of common sense, if the people have any kind of common sense, and I hope to God that they do, we won't allow this to go on. We want a free society in Australia. We don't have freedom of speech here in Australia, not anymore. But if we are to exist as a nation, Islam is not compatible with Western culture. Because if Islam comes in and takes over, it's already doing that, then Christianity. So why is it that Christians can't pray now in New South Wales? Why is it that Christians can't pray for people that claim to be LGBT? But we don't know if that involves Muslims. How dare they do like this double standard between Christianity versus Islam? To them, they're scared of Islam. But for Christians, they can control us. And if we're not careful, it's going to continue to happen. Anyway, that's enough from me, but you guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.